Good evening. So do you ever look around you and wonder why it seems like everyone else has everything in life figured out and that you're just the one riding the struggle bus? Or it seems like everyone else has life handled pretty well while it seems like mine is kind of going off the rails. It seems like my marriage is the only one with the issues, or my kids are the one that seems to have all the problems. And you might never say this out loud, but it nags at you and you wonder, is something wrong with me? Why does everything seem to be so difficult for me? And social media doesn't help us with this either. I mean, we can look on there and see that everyone else's life is perfect. They have a perfect family and perfect kids. They eat perfect meals on perfect vacations. And then you come here to St. Pat's, to the mega church, to the place full of intentional disciples. And you look around and you see a bunch of holy people whose kids are well behaved and whose lives seem like they're put together. And then there's you, the misfit, the odd one out, the one who seems like your life is uniquely broken. Well, I come to you with good news today. You aren't that special. Seriously, you aren't that unique. Or maybe to put it in a better way, you are not alone in this. The battles, the struggles, the temptations you face, you are not alone in facing them. You aren't the only one facing them. You are not alone. The battle waging in your own life is the same one that's been waged over the human heart since that very first day. The day when Adam remained silent and Eve grasped for what God had not yet given. The battle fought for the human heart down through the ages. That you are not alone in this. And this is the battle that Christ came to win. And so if this really is the same battle, then looking back at what happened on that day can show us then how to face it today. And so looking back to the garden that we heard about in Genesis, looking back to how we were made. Remember, both man and woman, made in the image and likeness of God, equal in dignity, made for each other. And when Adam was made, he was called to protect and to cultivate the garden. But to protect who from what? Was he just guarding some plants? But then he sees Eve, and he realizes, oh, that is who I am called to protect and cultivate. That is the one I have been entrusted with, to protect her, to build her up. And Eve formed from Adam's side. And God said it is not good for man to be alone, and so we need a suitable helpmate, a suitable partner for him. That word there that we translate as helpmate, it's the Hebrew word, ezer kenegdo, and it's actually better translated as life saver. Not like those little mints that you're all thinking of right now. No, like someone who actually saves your life. And of the 21 times this word is used in the Old Testament, 19 of them actually are used in reference to God himself. And so Eve was called to be the source of life for Adam, to complete him and together to share in the joy of bringing forth new life. And I mean, what else could she do? There was no death. There was nothing threatening his life. What did Adam needed to be saved from? Life was good. Life was very good in the garden. But then came this day that we heard about, when the serpent came. And how does the serpent attack? Well, what is the foundation of every relationship? It's not knowledge. It's not even love. No, it's actually trust. Trust, the foundation of every relationship. And so that's what he attacks. Did God really say that you couldn't eat of any of the trees? Oh, just the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Well, why not? Because he says you'll die? That's silly. You will not die. Don't trust what God says. Because if you eat it, he knows that you'll then be like gods, and he doesn't want that. God is holding something back from you. He's trying to limit your freedom. He doesn't want what is best for you. Don't trust him. Take the fruit for yourself. And then we hear this saddest line in the scriptures. And she gave it to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. On this fateful day, Adam failed to protect, and Eve failed to give Adam life. That Adam had been entrusted with protecting his bride. It was his one job. And at the moment she is under attack, he just does nothing. And Eve, called to be a lifesaver, to give Adam life, instead she hands him death, and he eats it. And then they looked at each other, and for the first time realized that they couldn't trust each other. If the one who was called to be a protector failed at his task, if my lifesaver handed me death, then how can I trust you? Then I have to hide, I have to protect myself. I have to save my own life because I can't trust you to do it. And this is the brokenness they handed on to us. See, the danger of thinking we're unique in our struggles is that we miss this bigger picture, that we all are suffering from the legacy of this fall of our first parents, that we inherited their broken hearts, that Eve passed down to her daughters the same brokenness, that in trying to be a lifesaver, we start to believe that we have to control, that I have to grasp for what I can, that I can't trust God to provide, and so I have to take what I need by whatever means I can. And she feels the wounds of Adam's failure, that he failed to protect her, that he wouldn't do what needed to be done, and so now she is alone. She is alone to face her demons, and she can't trust anyone else. It's all up to her, and so she has to control. She has to control her world, she has to control herself. If only she could be a little wiser, a little prettier, a little stronger, then she could have the control she wants. She could get what she needs. And Adam hands on to his sons the same legacy, that you are called to protect and cultivate, but look at what a failure you are. Do you really think that you have what it takes? Who are you kidding? You're an imposter. You're hollow. Just give up. You don't have what it takes. And he feels the wound of Eve's betrayal, that she was supposed to give him life, but she handed him death instead. How could he trust her? And so instead of protecting her, he has to save his own life. He has to look out for his own skin. She can fend for herself. Does this sound like your life? Like your marriage? I mean, remember, we aren't unique. We've got these from our first parents. Our wounds, the wounds that affect our hearts, aren't all that different from these. But this isn't the end of the story. It's actually only the third chapter, if you're following along. There is more. There's a lot more. And in this second reading we heard, St. Paul spells it out, that yes, through Adam and Eve, we have all become sinners. Death reigned. Death entered in, and we all shared in that condemnation. That is not the end. Far from it. No, because see, then Christ became man. He took upon himself this legacy of Adam and Eve, the weight of their sin. He placed himself under that same judgment, and he carried it to the cross. He did not shy away like Adam did. He did not try to grasp for life like Eve did. No, he freely gave of his life. He became the life saver. He put our broken humanity to death so that we could rise with him, so that we could have his life. As Paul says, the gift is not like the transgression. For if by the transgression of the one many died, how much more does the grace of God and the gracious gift of the one man, Jesus Christ, overflow for the many? That you aren't unique. Just like everyone else here, you bear the weight of Adam and Eve's fall, but more importantly, you share in the glory of Christ's redemption. As Paul continues, how much more? How much more will those who receive the abundance of grace and the gift of justification come to reign in life through the one Jesus Christ? No longer suffering under the reign of death, but reigning in life through Christ. How much more? How much greater is the rise than the fall? But do we believe that? Do we believe that the grace of God overflows for us? That we will reign in life through Jesus? Of just how much more the Lord has in store for us? That the grace of God actually can restore what is broken. not just in other people, not just in holy people, but in you, in your heart, in your marriage, in your life, in your family, that he has more for you. The devil, he tries to isolate us. He tries to convince us we're alone. He tries to divide us, to break trust, to break our trust in God, our trust in our spouse, our trust in the church. He wants us to feel alone because that's where he does his best work. But you are not alone. It's no accident that from the very beginning, the call, the mission of Adam and Eve, it was relational. That Adam was made to protect and cultivate Eve, and Eve to save Adam's life. They were made for each other. It's like God knew what he was doing. He knew we couldn't do this alone. And look, there's a lot of things you could focus on this Lent. Prayer and fasting, almsgiving. All those are good. But if this has resonated with you, then I have an invitation. Like if this experience of the brokenness of sin, that this is a real part of your life, of your marriage, of your family right now, then this is what I offer to you. That let this Lent be a Lent of restoration. A Lent of restoration. Of seeing just how much more our redemption in Christ can transform and restore your life and your marriage and your family. But what does that look like? Well, for men, for husbands, fathers, what could you do for the next 40 days to protect and cultivate your wife? And to stop hiding, to stop shrinking back, to build her up, to show your love and appreciation for her, to pray for her every day intentionally, going to battle against the spiritual realities that attack her, to be there for her, and to remind her of her beauty and her goodness and her loveliness, just as she is. Or for the women, for the wives, mothers, how can you, for the next 40 days, give your husband life rather than death? How can you pray for him? How can your words reflect the respect and trust you place in him? How can you show him that his contributions and his sacrifices on behalf of your family, that they're seen and valued? To remind him that, yes, he does have what it takes. And if you're not married, don't worry, there's still lots of restoration to go around. What can you do for the next 40 days to stop hiding from the Lord, to stop grasping and to start trusting, to stop looking for other things to give you life and instead walk with the Lord in the cool of the day? Where are you being invited into community with other believers? How are you being asked to give of yourself for the sake of others? Where are you avoiding saying yes to the call of God on your life? Or, I guess you could just give up chocolate. It's pretty much the same thing. How much more? How much more of his life and abundance and grace does Jesus have in store for you this Lent? How many blessings? How much restoration does he want to bring about in your family and in your marriage and in your heart? I know we're all well aware of our brokenness. But I believe that this Lent, the Lord wants you to experience his restoration and his redemption, to experience the life that he has for you, the life that he won for you on the cross.